Welcome to the Rent to Rent Success podcast, all about creating consistent cash flow, escaping the 9-to-5, and really living life on your terms. This is the only podcast entirely dedicated to helping you achieve rent to rent success. It's our place to inspire each other to believe bigger, to be bolder, and to be game changers for good. I'm Stephanie Taylor, your guide on this exciting ride. Let's start up the engines and get ready to fly. Hello, and welcome aboard episode 32 of the Rent to Rent Success podcast. And today we're talking about rent to rent and subletting. So if anyone's ever said to you that rent to rent is subletting and you're not sure, this episode is for you. And listen right to the end, where I'll be explaining where to find a free library of searchable rent-to-rent videos, podcasts, and articles that you will love. Now, most people don't know about rent-to-rent, and those who do know often regard it with suspicion. So I'm excited to bust the most common rent-to-rent myths in this series of rent-to-rent podcasts. If you're just joining us for the first time, do go back to episode 1, as the episodes do build on each other to give the full picture of rent-to-rent success. And if you are a regular listener, welcome back. We love you so much. Thanks for joining us. Our book is launching soon. So if you're listening near the release date of this podcast, get on the pre-launch list for some incredible pre-launch offers that won't be available to people who are not on that list. You can sign up at rentbook.com. That's renttorentbook.com. And we'll have the link in the show notes too. So let's get into this. Is rent to rent subletting? And the answer may surprise you. Yes, rent to rent is subletting. Many people talking about rent to rent say that it isn't subletting, and in fact, it is. But isn't subletting illegal? Most people just can't believe that rent to rent is a legitimate business model. So let's get this one sorted out straight away. Yes, subletting is legal and rent to rent is legal. Rent to rent has been used in commercial property for a long time. Commercial leases are long-term leases which give a commercial property tenant, usually a business, the right to sublet a property. And typically these were full repairing and insuring leases where the tenant takes on all the costs of repairing and insuring the property. And this model came over into residential property and has been adapted to give residential landlords similar guarantees to commercial landlords. And Northwood is the biggest guaranteed rent letting agent in the UK with over 85 offices, and it started as a single office in 1995. I think the reason why some people think rent to rent might be illegal is that subletting has a bad name. But subletting simply means to lease to a tenant. Subletting usually comes to public attention when it's in the news because somebody has done it illegally without the knowledge of the property owner. And that is absolutely not what we advocate. Rent to rent is legal when it's done with the full knowledge and consent of the owner and when the contracts are in place. And you can find out more about contracts in episode 16 of the podcast in your podcast app, or by visiting the website renttoRentSuccess.com/16. That's renttoRentSuccess.com/16 for episode 16. If you're still unconvinced on the fence, you might be swayed by the fact that rent to rent is recognised by the UK government's property ombudsman, the Property Redress Scheme. Here's the PRS definition. Rent to rent is where an individual or company known as the agent rents a property from a landlord for a specified period of time during which the landlord receives a fixed guaranteed rent from the agent. This can be attractive to landlords who want a hands-off investment with guaranteed income. The agent then lets the property generally on a room-by-room basis and manages the property. So that is the definition there from the property redress scheme, the government's property ombudsman. And the fact that so many people dismiss this strategy out of hand means that there's more opportunity for you. What you know, and more importantly, what you act upon will change your income and your impact. So critics may grudgingly admit that it's legal, but they wonder, well, why would a landlord give a property to me? And that's the question I'll be answering in the next episode. So that's it for this week. Now, if you want more, I mentioned at the beginning that we have a free searchable series of videos, podcasts, articles, and all things rent to rent. And a lot of people don't know that we have this. It's fully searchable. It's at rent2rentsuccess.com/blog, rentsuccess.com/blog. And you can search there for whatever aspect of rent to rent you want to know about. And we got most of it right there. And if you're looking for anything that you can't find right there, send me a message or leave a comment on the blog, because we want to have that library filling right up. I think you'll love it over there. So do go over to the website. You can see us. And yeah, we'd love to connect with you. So until next week, have a great rest of the week. And remember, believe bigger, be bolder, and be a game changer.
Thank you so much for listening. If you like the links for anything mentioned in today's episode, or if voice is not enough and you want to see us on video too, you can find all the show notes and lots more at rent2rentsuccess.com. That's rent number 2, rentsuccess.com. If you've enjoyed today's episode, we'd super appreciate it if you would take a few minutes to review it in your podcast app. Remember, we'll be donating to our B1G1 charities too for each review you give. Until then, believe bigger, be bolder, be a game changer.